Welcome to Taste of Truth Tuesdays, where we'll be serving up bite-sized conversations on all things fitness, nutrition, mindset, and spirituality. So grab your headphones and get ready to taste the truth with us every Tuesday. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform because every bite counts. Hey, welcome back to Taste of Truth Tuesdays. We are kicking off season 3 with a bang, diving deep into a topic that is near and dear to my heart. After 2 decades in the fitness industry, I've got some game-changing insights, tips, and no-nonsense truths to share, and you won't want to miss a single minute of today's episode, so let's dive in. Well, the new year is here, and you've probably seen the tidal wave of ads pushing detoxes, cleanses, and resets. And let me stop you right there. No, you don't need a detox, cleanse, or reset after the holidays. When I say quick fix, what comes to mind? Maybe it's a detox tea promising to cleanse your system, or a miracle shake that claims to replace your meals, or even the latest pharmaceutical weight loss drug like Ozempic, used off-label and hailed as the solution to stubborn fat. Quick fixes thrive on our desperation for immediate results, and they're marketed as shortcuts, whispering, "This will solve all your problems." No patience or hard work required. But here's the hard truth. Quick fixes rarely actually fix anything. Whether it's a detox, a cleanse, or a medication designed to suppress your appetite, they often bypass the roots of your concerns. They don't teach you how to nourish your body or rebuild a healthy relationship with food. Instead, they slap a Band-Aid on symptoms while creating long-term consequences for your metabolism, hormones, and mental well-being. I want to talk about Ozempic, for example. While it has been touted as this miracle weight loss drug, there are some serious health warnings that aren't always front and center. And as with significant weight loss in general, some people using this drug experience muscle loss and lower bone density, increasing the risk of injury, especially in older adults. In animal studies, semaglutide, the drug behind Ozempic, has been linked to an increased risk of thyroid cancer. And while we don't know yet if this risk directly translates to humans, it's definitely something to be aware of, especially if you have a family history of thyroid conditions. And let's not forget about the FDA's 2023 warning about potential intestinal blockage associated with these medications. Although what the evidence seems to show so far is it's more about slowed gastric emptying and vomiting that mimics an obstruction. And here's the bottom line. While these quick fixes promise to reshape your body in a short period of time, they often come with a slew of side effects that are rarely discussed. The key to managing those risks? Well, pay attention to your diet, listen to your body, definitely stay hydrated, but I can't help but to wonder, is the price on this quick fix really worth it? In my own journey, I have repeatedly fallen for these promises again and again and again, from replacing real food with Smart Start cereal and taking ephedra and green tea energy pills in high school. And then in my 30s, I got sucked into isogenics and I was chasing the next shake, cleanse, or even later, I was sucked into these ridiculous holistic protocols that always promised to transform my body overnight. And spoiler alert, it never worked the way I hoped, and sometimes it made things worse. And so today we are pulling back the curtain on quick fixes, diving into why they are so appealing, and exposing the truth about detoxes, cleanses, and even medications like Ozempic. So because your health deserves more than a shortcut, it deserves a sustainable, thoughtful approach rooted in a long-term sense of well-being. And so let's start by breaking down the dangers of these so-called solutions and why they often cause more harm than good. The dangers of detoxes and cleanses. So let me start by sharing a bit about my own personal experience with isogenics, an MLM I was involved in for 4 years, a little bit longer than that, I guess. Their program revolved around shake days and cleanse days. Shake days required replacing 2 real meals with shakes, leaving you with just about 1,200 to 1,500 calories per day, which is about the amount a toddler should be consuming, just for your information. Cleanse days were even more extreme. This was like 24 to 48 hours of intermittent fasting where you could consume only approved snacks, essentially glorified candies from their product line. Oh boy, and these cleanse days, they were touted as the secret weapon to triggering autophagy, which is basically cleaning up your cells, and this was a way to build muscle while shedding fat. But for me, the reality couldn't have been further from the sales pitch. Instead of gaining energy, building muscle, or feeling cleansed, I experienced fatigue, hormonal disruptions, and a worsening relationship with food. And I want to clarify here, if you're under the care of a well-educated, integrative professional who has run labs and prescribed a short-term liver cleanse or a restrictive protocol that's tailored specifically to your needs, this isn't directed at you. I'm talking to the folks who, like me, were misled by marketing tactics of supplement companies, MLMs, and Pinterest ads. These programs prey on our insecurities while delivering none of the promised benefits. And so here's why quick fixes and detoxes, cleanses are more harmful than helpful. They deplete your energy over time. On those cleanse days, I often felt like I was running on fumes. Severely restricting food intake forces your body to pull from its energy reserves, which will eventually leave you feeling fatigued, irritable, and unable to function optimally. Over time, this restriction will trigger metabolic adaptations, slowing your metabolism to conserve energy. Instead of speeding up for fat loss, it actually makes your body cling to every calorie it gets, making future weight management even harder. And we'll break down this specific scientific reasoning in a little bit. Number 2, they disrupt hormonal health. These cleanse days wreaked havoc on my hormones because the lack of consistent nourishment interferes with thyroid hormone conversion and overactivates the adrenal glands, increasing cortisol production. Chronic levels of high cortisol will undermine immunity, energy, and mood. And for women, the risks are even greater. Prolonged restriction, like intermittent fasting, sends your body into survival mode, disrupting your reproductive hormones. So I dealt with irregular periods, cold extremities, like my fingers and toes were always freezing, and even my hair was thinning. All signs that my body was prioritizing survival over health and reproduction. Cleanse days also can create nutritional deficiencies. When you cut out food, you cut out nutrients. So these shakes and these supplements from Isagenix were marked as nutritionally complete, but they couldn't compare to the diversity and the richness and the deliciousness of whole foods. This reliance on synthetic supplements is not a sustainable way to meet your nutritional needs. I honestly think it played into the concept we talk a lot about this illusion of control we get and how dopamine can play into this addictive behavior behind restrictive diets, because I could stick to these approved foods. I could swap out so many meals. I felt like life was so much easier. I wasn't always cooking, but really this was just illuminating my obsessive controlling tendencies and actually really damaged my relationship with food, because the most insidious effect of this program or other programs that I was on that were similar, perhaps I was prescribed to eat the very same meal, even though it was whole foods based. It would be like oatmeal with blueberries and protein. Or for dinner, it would be like a fresh, I did grow my own salad leaves. So it'd be like a fresh salad with grilled chicken and a little bit of cashews and a little bit of avocado. So I definitely get some fat in there, which was delicious because it was a low carb meal. But I'd have to eat the same meals, 6 meals, every day for 12 weeks. And so that was a different program I was on besides Isagenix. But this was constantly restricting or cleansing. And I basically lost touch with my own hunger cues. And I began seeing food as the enemy. For a while, my appetite diminished, which might sound like a win in hustle culture, but it was actually a huge red flag because our bodies need food to fuel productivity, creativity, and overall well-being, and sacrificing health in the name of hustle or to be super lean and have those rock-solid six-pack abs isn't the flex that these companies or some fitness and personal trainers make it out to be. The bottom line, programs like the one I was involved in sell you the illusion of health while delivering energy, depletion, hormone imbalance, and long-term damage to your metabolism. Sustainable growth comes from nourishing your body, listening to its needs, and rejecting the false promises of quick fixes. So if you're considering a cleanse or a detox, I'd like for you to ask yourself, is this supporting my long-term health, or am I falling for a marketing gimmick? Let's talk about what your body really needs. Your body thrives on consistency, nourishment, and balance. And that's why I created the 365 Easy Challenge, which focuses on 6 foundational habits that create sustainable growth. We broke this challenge down in a previous episode, and there's links in the show note if you want to get in on the action with us. But we focus on gratitude, building a positive mindset by reflecting daily on what you're thankful for. We focus on digestion, supporting your gut with mindful eating practices and nourishing foods. Sleep, prioritize restorative rest to boost energy and metabolism, mindset and self-talk by reframing. We're going to shift your mindset to approach challenges with resilience, and stress management and nutrition, because you're going to balance your life and your plate without extremes. So these habits are not about perfection, they're about progress. So you can join in any time you want and make this year about sustainability and steady growth. One phrase I often say to clients is slow is steady and steady is fast. Let's say that together. Slow is steady and steady is fast. So as a special New Year's treat, I wanted to share with you 7 things I wish I knew sooner. And in this particular episode, we're going to be tackling the first 4 lessons that I wish I learned earlier in my nutrition and fitness journey. And I hope that these insights save you time, frustration, and even your health. The first one is extreme diets have extreme consequences. And if you ever thought, I just need to cut my calories harder, let me stop you right there. Extreme diets may promise quick results, but they come with a hefty price tag on your body. Research such as the Biggest Loser study reveals a major roadblock: metabolic adaptation. Let's talk about what that is. Your body isn't wired for vanity, like let's get shredded for vacation. It's wired for survival. Your body doesn't get those iOS updates like our phone does every once in a while. When you restrict calories excessively, your body learns to compensate in order to preserve energy, and this can continue for years after the diet ends. I mean, that Biggest Loser research study shows negative impacts to the previous contestants' metabolism 6 years later. So here's what that looks like. Calorie restriction will become less effective over time. Your metabolic rate slows down, making it harder to maintain or continue fat loss. You feel frustrated, but it's your body hitting the brakes, not your willpower failing. Takeaway: your body isn't out to sabotage you, it's actually protecting you. And the solution? Nutritional periodization. This is a big fancy word that means incorporate diet breaks, maintenance phases, or even reverse dieting to minimize these adaptations. And if you don't know what those terms are, don't worry, we will have a future episode this season to tackle it all. Okay, number 2, restrictive diets wreck hormonal health. So chronic or yo-yo dieting isn't just stressful for your mind, it's a major stressor for your body. Prolonged restrictions can negatively impact your adrenal system. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, but chronic stress triggers the HPA axis, which is part of the brain and your adrenals. And while cortisol is very essential in moderation, consistent high levels can negatively impact your energy, mood, and immunity. And I just want to take a second. And so I had a client tell me that her doctor said, your adrenals are completely tanked. They're completely gone. And I was like, wait a minute. We've got to be really careful with the semantics that your doctors can use when they're talking about adrenals and the adrenal system. Keep in mind, it is on a feedback loop, which means when you make proper adjustments to your lifestyle, to your diet, and to other aspects of your life, you can actually see improvements here. So your adrenals aren't trashed, gone. They can come back. I promise. Anyways, back to how restrictive diets will impact your hormones. We have thyroid, which we've talked about before. With my dear friend Nicole. She talks a lot about this, and also in a previous episode with Teresa Piela about just how stress negatively impacts our body, but it'll negatively impact your thyroid and TSH production and the overall conversion of thyroid hormones, which are vital for all things, and especially your metabolism. And lastly, your reproductive hormones. So you might have missing or irregular periods, hair loss, texture changes, feeling constantly cold, and these are signs that your body isn't feeling safe enough to prioritize reproduction, which you might not care, particularly right now, about wanting to have kids, or you might not ever want to have kids, but reproduction or fertility is a sign of optimal health as well, not just I want to make a baby. Does that make sense? Minimum body fat is necessary to maintain reproductive health, especially for women, and hormones like progesterone, which are critical for ovulation and overall healthy metabolism, rely on nutrient availability and a sense of safety. And so the takeaway here, your body isn't the enemy. It's doing its best with the fuel and the signals that you're probably giving it, and supporting your hormones by eating enough, maintaining balance overall in your lifestyle, and avoiding extreme restrictions are the way to go. And there's tons of research cited in the show notes, guys. So please pull up the blog post that goes with today's episode if you want to go on some rabbit holes and learn some more with me. All right, number 3, exercise plus intermittent fasting equals double trouble for women. So adding intense exercise to an intermittent fasting protocol might sound like a fast track to results, but let me tell you, if you're a woman, this is a recipe for dysfunction, and I know because I did this personally, and here's why. Women's bodies are highly sensitive to kisspeptin, which is a neuropeptide critical for reproductive and endocrine health, and diets like keto and intermittent fasting can disrupt kisspeptin production, which leads to endocrine dysfunction, menstrual irregularities, depression, and increased abdominal fat, which I think is probably opposite of what you wanted. And worst of all, half of all active women already aren't eating enough to support the basic functions, let alone the training that they're doing in the gym or outside while they're hiking or in Zumba or dance class. And so this long-term impact, it's pretty serious. We have impaired thyroid function, stalled muscle growth or muscle loss, and metabolic imbalances. So the takeaway here is women need nourishment, especially when you're training hard. Fasting and exercise together often do more harm than good, leaving your body stressed instead of thriving. Final lesson I want to share with you is a healthy relationship with exercise is flexible and fulfilling. Exercise is amazing for your body and mind, yes, but even a good thing can become harmful when taken to the extremes. Exercise addiction is a compulsive engagement with physical activity despite negative consequences, and it often comes with excessive rules, rigidity, feelings of shame before, during, or after workouts, like if you miss a week or you miss a workout, you're just completely tripping out, or withdrawal symptoms when you're unable to exercise. In contrast, a healthy relationship with exercise is flexible because it allows for variety in movement types and durations, or if you have to move your workout or miss your workout, you're not going to be tripping. And fulfilling, it's rooted in joy and self-care, not punishment or guilt. So the takeaway here is the best kind of movement is the one that enriches your life, not rules it. Exercise should add value to your day, not take away from it. Let's please leave hustle culture behind us in 2024, because hustle culture says eat less, work more, and sacrifice rest to succeed. And this mindset isn't empowering, it's exhausting. This year, let's prioritize health over hustle and choose habits that energize rather than deplete. The 365 Easy Challenge is here to help you make that shift. It's completely free. Whether it's gratitude, better sleep, or balanced nutrition, these small steps add up to make big changes over time. So what's our takeaway for 2025? This year, we're going to skip the detox and we're going to focus on what truly works. Habits that honor your body's needs, not a quick fix fantasy. So if you're ready to embrace sustainable growth, I want you to join the 365 Easy Challenge and start building a foundation of lifelong health with us. You can download the guide right here in the show notes, and it's never too late to jump in. Let's grow together. And as always, stay curious, embrace skepticism, and thanks for tuning in. Have a great week.